All right, Todd Lyons is the acting ICE director and joins us now. Sir, good to see you. I guess I want to start here. After what we saw in Newark on Friday, do you believe that charges are coming for the members of Congress, especially the ones who physically assaulted ICE officers? You know, they stormed a federal government facility. They refused to leave. Are charges coming?
So I'll leave that to Department of Justice to answer. They're working on that case. They're great partners. But first off, thanks for having me on, because I really like to address this. You know, what we saw on Friday and over the weekend through protests and things like that, you know, really, there's no excuse for that. That could have been handled a lot better way. Yeah. We totally believe that Congress has the right to have the oversight, but they could have done it a better way. That was just a political stunt all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a distorted thing. And again, we're seeing three very, meager members of Congress that most people haven't heard of. They want to escalate their relevance. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to do it in this manner. I think we're going to see a lot more of this kind of, showmanship and just grandstanding. I think we're going to see a lot of that. But talk about how bad the people that are being held in the Newark facility are, just to show how ridiculous these members are and the mayor of Newark are.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's a great question. I appreciate you bringing that up, because really these are the worst of the worst, right? This is what this administration has set out with from the beginning, is to make sure that we're getting these criminal aliens, these public safety threats out of our neighborhoods. 75% of the 152 detainees that are at Delaney Hall have criminal convictions or pending criminal charges. So there are people in there right now that have been charged with murder, fentanyl distribution, child pornography, wire fraud. They're members of TDA, members of MS-13. So these are the people that you don't want in your neighborhood. And these are the people who the men and women of ICE, officers and agents, are out in the communities every day putting their lives on the line to take these public safety threats off the street. And it really is disheartening when these elected officials are, championing criminal aliens. Yeah, it goes against everything.
They're so embarrassing. It was such a spectacle to behold. Tell us about what happened in Worcester, Massachusetts. There was an ICE engagement there. They were trying to get somebody out of a house. It sounds like another bad apple. And you had kind of the residents come out pretty angry about it. And to me, it was an indication of just how brainwashed I think the American people are against what you're doing largely by the mainstream press. You guys are trying to make their community safer, and you're getting screamed at by the people in that neighborhood. Can you give us some of those details?
Yeah, so the target that day, it was a female. She had been previous charges of assault and battery with a deadly weapon on another pregnant female. These are the type of people you don't want in your neighborhood. Yet, like you said, through mainstream media, the men and women who I represent are just demonized to the worst degree. And they're out there just trying to do their job. And you see what happens. You had another elected official that took the situation to an extreme, got the crowd fired up. And then what happens? Now you have to rely on the local police department to come in and gain control of that scene, when all it is a law enforcement agency out there trying to do their mission. Every day, we're out there getting the worst of the worst. Yeah. But we're starting to see these increases in assaults. And what really bothers me is the fact that assaults on ICE officers and agents are up 416% since January 20th. And these are just men and women just out there trying to do their jobs.
Everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt Tonight on Newsmax.